or a campaign. This is based on sort of manifesto, campaign, etc., etc. Any individual questions? Cool. Then, any individual questions for Shane? Cool. Do you have any questions, Dane? Do you have any questions?
No.
So don't have any questions at all for anyone? Yes, Tina.
So compared to last COVID, what is your favourite word?
My favourite word. Wow, there are so many words in this world. I actually have a favourite. I think my favourite word is cats because I love cats.
Again, despite doing theology, I know strikingly few words. But my favourite word is hippopotamontrophobia, for the simple reason that it's the fear of long words, and I think whoever thought of that is really, really mean, and I find it really funny.
Any other questions? James Leonard.
So part of your role is you have the college's voting card and assembly, so you vote at the highest body of the students' union. How will you make sure that you get representation across the whole college when you make your decisions on issues that are coming up?
Would you mind repeating the question one more time?
So you hold like the voting card, so you hold the college's vote and assembly, which is the highest decision-making body of the students' union. How do you make sure that when an issue comes up, you've got the whole college's opinion on an issue?
Okay, well, first of all, I might see, depending on what the issue was, I would organise some surveys, maybe Survey Monkey that you can do in 2 minutes, just to get issues on that. And also, that's part of what comes in with strengthening the DSU committee, because we're already quite a tight-knit community this year, which I think is really awesome. But we're all first years, so as far as college goes, I think we sort of massively represent 25% of college. And currently we're working on the Boycott the NSS campaign, which doesn't even target first years, it targets finalists. Boycott the NSS. And what I would do is I would work with the president and everyone else on that committee to come up with a more representative DSU committee itself. And so make sure whoever's in what year has a specific brief, and whenever questions need to be asked, I can say to that person, can you please gather whatever data needs to be collected? And also based on how I would sort of synthesize that into the college role and voting for college. As I said, I know it's a really good question. Well, to answer your question, what I would do is, as I said, I have experience on and off, being 9 years old to sixth form, representing different views. So I would look through and as objectively as I could, and again, hopefully, using the expertise and the knowledge that my junior DSUers would have, be able to synthesize. I said I know very few words. To be able to synthesize the best, what I think, and what hopefully everyone thinks is the best and most representative vote for college.
Well, I'd actually like to emphasize the U in DSU represented. But basically, as an international student, having studied in a British school all my life, I feel like I could sufficiently represent both parties effectively. I actually come from so many different backgrounds. I've lived in the States for a while, I've lived in Africa for a while, lived in Sri Lanka for a while. I feel like I can effectively coalesce all of these things and sort of represent each and every person's effective views. I mean, international students get faced with so many different things according to the UKBI, other such situations, and as well as home students face issues such as fees rising and other such situations. And I feel like I could coalesce that and sort of create a holistic role of representative. In addition to that, as I had mentioned before, strengthening the role of the junior DSU rep is so vital. Mainly because we need year-based reps, it's so difficult to access each and every single year group. I can effectively access the first years. I don't know how to effectively access the second and third years. That's why having a year-based representative to sort of pass information to the peers and also get information back would be so vital. Because effectively, one person cannot effectively represent a college, an entire college, and that's why we need holism to be introduced into this role.
Any other questions? Please, Sabina.
So obviously the Stop Fake Signing campaign is like a really big part, and as well, so you should do a campaign like, what are your ideas for that?
You again.
Sorry, what was the question?
Just your ideas for like the housing campaign.
Right.
You
So basically, well, housing being one of the biggest issues. How do we fit everyone everywhere in Durham? So I feel like what we need to do is increase publicity, social media. We don't utilize it enough. We have to have those events that everyone clicks interested in. And I feel like we need to sort of create that sort of home type environment for people to sort of come in and like probably introduce food or small snacks or something like that. Create sort of that want to sort of know more information. That is how exactly one publicity campaign, I guess.
I personally am really glad you brought that up because I forgot to mention it in my husk, so thank you. What I would love to do is sort of work with you and whoever else gets elected to the role and set up like specific dedicated welfare style drop-ins but for housing. So we can ask questions about whether that would be how do I find a housemate, and that would be publicising the DSU's Find a Housemate events, or indeed in Collingwood, and all the free food therewith associated. And also that's another way in which we can use the DSU reps. Because again, as I said, it's great having a team that is there for reactionary purposes, but they'll be part of their brief that if I can't make it, or to give them more to do, these drop-ins will help them also get to know the housing structures and everything that's available at the DSU, and so they can go and you can learn more about it that way. So my answer would be through drop-ins and working with welfare to set that up, as well as obviously encouraging as much attendance as we can through the ingenious idea of free brunch at the housing board.
And final question from our current senior DSU rep.
Can I ask a two-part question?
Yeah, go on.
It'll be brief, don't worry. First, if you could summarise in one word what you think the central skill is of the DSU rep, and how would you say that you embody that? And second, I consider it's a habit of mine to say things at executive committee meetings that are so inappropriate they can't be limited. How would you consider that part of the management?
Yes. Or no, depending on what this way. The one word thing is really hard because, as I said, I know strikingly few words. I guess I would have to say representation, because representative is the key part and the only full word in the job. And so I would embody that by, as the wonderful Scarlett said, by sort of trying to be as friendly as approachable as possible so anyone can come and talk to me. I would embody that through my DSU reps who I sort of consider just not sort of junior but an extension of the role. And so I would attempt to gather as much information from as many sources as possible, synthesise that into a view, put it to the DSU to do what's best for college, because as I said, we have the biggest proportional voice, and I would love to represent that and to give a proper answer rather than a facetious one to your first question, to the second part. I mean, I don't know whether you mean you're saying it as a joke, in which case my sense of humour is quite weird and you can ask my friends, or if it's like a serious point that you want to raise, absolutely, because whether we can win it or not, because that's still part of representation and it's putting forward another view which helps representation in a holistic manner.
I think the most important word would be diplomacy. Diplomacy is basically, as one of my old friends used to say, sending someone to hell in a way that they actually want to go. I'm quite good at telling people to go to hell. I'm not sure if they actually want to go. That's besides the point. I feel like diplomacy is crucial. If you are in a union, if you are in any kind of committee, you need to be able to negotiate. You need to be able to be a people's person. People need to like you. I feel like when you need to get things done from other people and you need to sort of work within colleges, it's so vital to have skills of diplomacy and just generally negotiation. I feel like that's important. That's one of the crucial things. The topic of humor. Well, I mean, it's great. I feel like it takes up a bit of time, but I mean, with JCR meetings, we do JCR meetings. So yes, I will try my best. I can make no promises, but yeah, definitely.
Excellent, thank you very much.